we tried really hard to kill this. We really tried really hard to kill this, but we couldn't kill it.
The revival!
It's back.
Whoa, back from the dead.
Back from the dead.
Reincarnation.
Peer-to-peer. All right, so we had a conversation with Rachel Botsman, who's sort of one of the kind of self-proclaimed leaders, innovators in the peer-to-peer space. She's the one that coined the term collaborative consumption. And so we talked on the phone, and one of the interesting things that came about of this conversation was the fact that you know, peer-to-peer is kind of growing, and there's obviously problems, and that's why we decided that we would kill it. But one of the issues is that there's a density problem. Like, even though this is growing, there's actually really a density problem where you could go to a site and not get what you're looking for. And so one of the things that she talked about was, is there a way that you could actually channel people to the right place to basically to make sure that they're actually getting what they want based on the location where they're at or what they want. So
Charles, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
Is that about product?
It could be based on like what product are you looking for, where are you located, and you know what price are you willing to pay or something like that.
Okay.
Or service.
Yeah, or it could be a service too. So that was kind of the high level need, and then as we thought about it more, you know, what else is a problem? Well, you know, it's the P2P site owners, as I just said, they have a density issue, and they would love to find a way to acquire more providers and consumers. By provider, I mean someone who's willing to rent their equipment or provide a service or whatever. You know, providers and consumers, you know, people like myself, for example, we need a way to feel more comfortable just with this general concept of peer-to-peer transactions. People like Andrew and his friends who are crazy and liberal, they do this already, so he's like, this thing's been around for centuries. Well, for me, like, it's just not something that comes really naturally to me. So I need a way to feel more comfortable with this idea. So as we kind of thought about this, what we sort of thought, okay, there's this kind of interesting concierge search idea. And so the solution that we kind of came to was a site that actually shows you all your options based on your personal preferences. So when I say all, I don't mean just peer-to-peer, I mean all. So let's say that we start, let's go back to the vertical of real asset, real estate, okay? Like that's clearly the biggest asset play. And we were concerned at that point, well, okay, Airbnb already kind of dominates this space. Well, the thing is that what you could do is if you start just in this vertical and say, you know, I want to stay in certain places, or I want to stay at certain dates, I want to go to San Francisco, and I want to pay whatever, $50. So you click, so it's sort of similar to what you get on Kayak. So you click and you get a map, but what you get is, you know, what hotels are available, but, you know, there's also an option of using Airbnb or Couchsurfing or VRBO. So you're basically embedding all of it into one site so that it makes it totally normal. That this is something that you can just do. It's not like, oh, I'm on a peer-to-peer site. It's, no, I'm on a site that's giving you all options. Now you can basically toggle between costs. Like you could go up to whatever, $800 a night. You could go down to free, and you could, and like, you know, as you're toggling this, what shows up on the map probably is like things disappearing, right? And as you get down to free, probably your only option at that point is Couchsurfing. But it basically makes it so that you can actually see the entire spectrum, right? So that it makes this normal. The other thing is that, you know, you have quality. I mean, cost in a lot of ways is a quality indicator, but you could potentially, you know, if you really want high quality, you know, you could see that there are some things that are $800 a night, but you might be able to rent a mansion in San Francisco for $300 a night with nobody there, from Airbnb or from VRBO or from somewhere else, right? So you could actually start to really get the spectrum, and that might make someone like me comfortable actually clicking on that, you know, on that particular dot, which would actually then take you to that specific page on their particular website, right? To show you what that particular property is. So it's basically trying to reduce this friction of, oh my God, this is scary, I don't know, you know, what this is, to really give you the true entire spectrum of options. And so the idea that we had was you could start with like the biggest market, which we think is housing, right? Then you could start, and then you could move to the next biggest one, which we think would be cars. But as you're sort of, if you're able to acquire enough eyeballs, you can actually then build in the trust system that we were talking about. So now you actually have a reason to visit this page, to get enough users on the page to then maybe even build up a trust system that we could then potentially, you know, like we could then potentially sort of use throughout the entire peer-to-peer space. So we saw that as kind of another play, and then sort of just kind of expanding down the line in terms of the different verticals. But that was kind of our newest solution. I mean, I think the next steps for us are to kind of really validate. Well, so I think that there's going to be a lot of competition. You know, we think that Airbnb is starting to kind of think about this already, and the idea is like you got to beat them at their own game and sort of get them at that point where they want to get to. You know, I think they're trying to take hotels. They don't want to list hotels already where hotels have sort of unused or space that they can't sell, and they'll take that and sort of advertise that for them, etc. But you know, if you can get there now versus them sort of evolving to that point, you might be able to kind of beat them at their own game and expand.
Thank you.